Maryland Real Estate Exam Practice Questions. Question 1. At a marketing review, a Maryland exam candidate encounters the following description: the Maryland requirement when a licensee advertises the sale, rent, or purchase of real property. Which concept is being tested? Option A, present a true and non-misleading picture. Option B, disclose the advertiser's license status and broker relationship. Option C, include at least one licensee team member's name. Option D, show the broker or branch manager telephone number. The correct answer is option B, disclose the advertiser's license status and broker relationship. Failure to provide the information can be grounds for discipline. The public should know that the advertiser is acting as a licensed professional. A salesperson or associate broker must also identify the broker on whose behalf the advertisement is made. Question 2. Samuel is assisting with an office building transaction in Bowie. Which principle applies when the facts involve the Maryland duty when a licensee offers a contractor's name to a client? Option A, a penalty of up to $5,000 per violation. Option B, disclose known or reasonably knowable material facts. Option C, verify a recommended home-improvement contractor's license annually. Option D, avoid prizes, lotteries, or contests used to influence a property sale. The correct answer is option C, verify a recommended home-improvement contractor's license annually. The client must be told where the licensing information is available and the date of verification. The statute treats this referral differently from several other listed service providers. The licensee checks the contractor's status through the Home Improvement Commission each year before making the referral. Question 3. Which answer most accurately identifies the Maryland procedure when a party fails to complete the transaction and the broker intends to distribute trust money under statutory authority in a real estate transaction? Option A, promptly account for all trust money. Option B, notify the commission in writing within 10 days. Option C, a secured area within the broker's office. Option D, provide notice to both interested parties before a good-faith distribution. The correct answer is option D, provide notice to both interested parties before a good-faith distribution. Interpleader or continued holding may be appropriate when the broker does not make a discretionary distribution. The decision must reflect a good-faith reading of the contract that created the trust. The broker communicates the intended recipient before releasing the funds. Stressed about your AccuPlacer? We can take AccuPlacer for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee a pass and payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done. Question 4. A question arising during pre-listing meeting concerns the Maryland ethical rule preventing commingling of entrusted funds. Which choice gives the best classification? Option A, keep brokerage and client money separate. Option B, written instructions or written agreement of the interested parties. Option C, notify the commission in writing within 10 days. Option D, a non-interest-bearing escrow or special account. The correct answer is option A, keep brokerage and client money separate. Segregation preserves ownership and makes every receipt and disbursement traceable. Operating expenses cannot be paid from a client trust account. Unauthorized use can constitute conversion and lead to severe discipline. Question 5. While analyzing a historic residence, Leah must apply the concept involving the Maryland restriction on compensation for performing real estate brokerage services. Which answer should be selected? Option A, pay any referrer who provides a buyer name. Option B, do not pay brokerage compensation to an unlicensed person. Option C, pay an unlicensed assistant a percentage of commission. Option D, pay a customer for performing license negotiations. The correct answer is option B, do not pay brokerage compensation to an unlicensed person. Certain out-of-state or licensed-entity exceptions apply only when statutory conditions are met. Referral or commission payments cannot be used to evade licensing requirements. Administrative or marketing services should be distinguished from acts requiring a license. Question 6. Which real estate term is defined by the standard Maryland imposes on a broker overseeing affiliated salespersons and associate brokers? Option A, no supervision for independent contractors. Option B, supervision only after a complaint. Option C, reasonable and adequate supervision. Option D, supervision limited to escrow matters. The correct answer is option C, reasonable and adequate supervision. The broker must maintain controls that support lawful and competent brokerage services. Failure to supervise can support disciplinary action against the broker. Independent minus contractor status does not remove the broker's supervisory duty. Question 7. In a transaction involving a subdivision lot, which rule controls when there is the deadline tied to a successful Maryland examination result? Option A, apply within 30 days. Option B, apply within 2 years. Option C, apply at any time without score expiration. Option D, apply for licensure within 1 year after passing. The correct answer is option D, apply for licensure within 1 year after passing. Prompt application also allows the candidate to complete brokerage affiliation and fee requirements. Maryland requires successful candidates to complete the original minus license process before the passing score expires. Waiting beyond the permitted period can require additional examination steps. Question 8. A tenant asks about the Maryland ethical standard for real estate advertising. Which answer provides the legally accurate concept? Option A, present a true and non-misleading picture. Option B, include the licensed brokerage name conspicuously. Option C, show the broker or branch manager telephone number. Option D, disclose the advertiser's licensed status and broker relationship. The correct answer is option A, present a true and non-misleading picture. Material limitations should not be hidden in a way that creates a false impression. The standard applies to digital, print, telephone, and other consumer communications. Claims about property, services, pricing, and credentials must be accurate and supportable. Are you looking for AccuPlacer actual questions? Visit our website pokerexams.com to access AccuPlacer study guide with actual questions and answers. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description to get AccuPlacer answer key today. Question 9. Rena encounters the listing licensee's Maryland duty in a covered residential transaction during a buyer consultation. Which principle should guide the analysis? Option A, no duty to disclose a death or felony occurrence as a property defect. Option B, inform the seller of disclosure or disclaimer obligations. Option C, inform the buyer of statutory disclosure rights. Option D, deliver the disclosure or disclaimer on or before contract formation. The correct answer is option B, inform the seller of disclosure or disclaimer obligations. Proper instruction and delivery protect the purchaser's statutory rights. The licensee is not required to conduct an independent property inspection solely to complete the seller's form. The seller must understand the state form choices, timing, and latent minus defect responsibilities. Question 10. Which choice best matches the description the state body responsible for licensing, examination, regulation, and discipline of real estate licensees? Option A, the Maryland Association of Realtors. Option B, the Local Planning Commission. Option C, the Maryland Real Estate Commission. Option D, the Maryland Department of Assessments and Taxation. The correct answer is option C, the Maryland Real Estate Commission. The Commission acts to protect public health, safety, and welfare through professional regulation. It adopts and enforces rules within authority granted by statute. Private trade associations do not issue Maryland real estate licenses. Question 11. During review of a cooperative unit in Laurel, the parties discuss the ethics instruction included in Maryland salesperson pre-licensing education. Which term applies? Option A, complete 1 hour of ethics. Option B, complete 5 hours of appraisal law. Option C, complete ethics only after licensure. Option D, complete 3 hours of approved real estate ethics. The correct answer is option D, complete 3 hours of approved real estate ethics. It addresses professional conduct in addition to substantive real estate principles. The ethics component is part of the approved education required before licensure. The applicant must still complete the remainder of the approved curriculum. Question 12. An exam scenario presents the confidentiality rule governing price and terms in Maryland dual agency. Which answer is most accurate? Option A, do not reveal a client's negotiating limits without authorization. Option B, disclose offered financial bonuses to each party. Option C, the broker or designated branch office manager. Option D, assign separate intra-company agents to the buyer and seller. The correct answer is option A, do not reveal a client's negotiating limits without authorization. The seller's willingness to accept less and the buyer's willingness to pay more are protected information. Protecting these facts prevents one side from gaining an unfair bargaining advantage. Motivation and urgency are also confidential unless disclosure is authorized or required by law. Question 13. A licensee preparing for a marketing review must recognize the Maryland definition of a latent defect for residential disclosure purposes. Which concept does this describe? Option A, inform the seller of disclosure or disclaimer obligations. Option B, a hidden material condition posing a direct health or safety threat. Option C, inform the buyer of statutory disclosure rights. Option D, no duty to disclose a death or felony occurrence as a property defect. The correct answer is option B, a hidden material condition posing a direct health or safety threat. A seller choosing the disclaimer route must still disclose known qualifying latent defects. The condition is not one a careful visual inspection would reasonably reveal. Its significance arises from the direct danger to a purchaser or occupant. Question 14. Which answer correctly classifies a situation involving the principal pre-licensing education requirement for a Maryland salesperson applicant? Option A, complete a 30-hour course. Option B, complete a 75-hour course. Option C, complete an approved 60-hour course. Option D, complete experience instead of education. The correct answer is option C, complete an approved 60-hour course. The course includes a 3-hour ethics component approved by the Commission. Passing a school course does not replace the state licensing examination. The approved salesperson curriculum is limited to 60 clock hours and covers national and state topics. Question 15. At a lease negotiation in Baltimore, Daria explains the Maryland advertising requirement when a salesperson or associate broker uses an individual phone number or email address. Which real estate principle is involved? Option A, include the licensed brokerage name conspicuously. Option B, include at least one licensee team member's name. Option C, present a true and non-misleading picture. Option D, show the broker or branch manager telephone number. The correct answer is option D, show the broker or branch manager telephone number. A personal contact detail cannot appear alone in a manner that suggests independent practice. The rule applies to consumer-directed promotion across communication media. The required broker-level contact information makes the supervisory connection clear. Question 16. A transaction file for a single-family home raises an issue involving a Maryland disciplinary restriction on specified promotional methods. Which answer best resolves the classification? Option A, avoid prizes, lotteries, or contests used to influence a property sale. Option B, verify a recommended home improvement contractor's license annually. Option C, disclose known or reasonably knowable material facts. Option D, a penalty of up to $5,000 per violation. The correct answer is option A, avoid prizes, lotteries, or contests used to influence a property sale. The rule prevents promotional devices from improperly inducing consumers in a real estate transaction. Advertising a free appraisal is also restricted unless it is genuinely available without regard to the requester's purpose. Marketing programs must be reviewed before launch for licensing and consumer-protection compliance. Question 17. Which concept should a listing broker apply to facts involving the Maryland contract requirement concerning title and settlement services? Option A, do not require the buyer to use a particular settlement-service provider. Option B, provide the required buyer selection notice in the contract. Option C, specific lien. Option D, comparative market analysis. The correct answer is option B, provide the required buyer selection notice in the contract. Omitting the language can expose the licensee to discipline. The notice informs the purchaser that qualifying providers may be selected by the buyer. The protection promotes competition and prevents coercive referrals. Question 18. Talia is studying a rule concerning the operating limitation placed on a Maryland real estate salesperson. Which term should be chosen? Option A, provide services independently of a broker. Option B, work for several brokers without notice. Option C, act only on behalf of the affiliated broker. Option D, receive direct brokerage compensation from clients. The correct answer is option C, act only on behalf of the affiliated broker. A salesperson's brokerage services are performed through the supervising broker. Independent activity outside that relationship can violate licensing law. The broker is responsible for reasonable and adequate supervision of affiliated licensees.
Stressed about your FCLE? We can take FCLE for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee a pass in payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done.
Question 19. When a retail suite transaction involves the Maryland rule when initial agency contact is not face-to-face, which answer identifies the controlling concept? Option A, display the commission open minus house notice conspicuously. Option B, a written brokerage agreement. Option C, no later than the first scheduled face minus to minus face contact. Option D, disclose representation through the medium of first contact. The correct answer is option D, disclose representation through the medium of first contact. Early disclosure prevents the other party from assuming the licensee represents them. A telephone, email, or other remote contact requires a representation disclosure in that communication method. The later written form requirements still apply at the appropriate stage. Question 20. A practice question describes the consent required before a Maryland broker or qualified branch manager acts as dual agent. Which response is best? Option A, written informed consent of all parties. Option B, assign separate intra-company agents to the buyer and seller. Option C, the broker or designated branch office manager. Option D, disclose offered financial bonuses to each party. The correct answer is option A, written informed consent of all parties. A buyer or seller may refuse consent and is not required to accept the conflict. The consent form must comply with Maryland's content and affirmation requirements. Dual representation creates conflicts that must be explained before the arrangement proceeds. Question 21. During a buyer consultation, which principle is illustrated by the method a Maryland listing minus side licensee uses to satisfy disclosure duties while holding property open to the public? Option A, explain the differences among Maryland agency roles. Option B, display the commission open minus house notice conspicuously. Option C, no later than the first scheduled face minus to minus face contact. Option D, present written offers and counteroffers promptly. The correct answer is option B, display the commission open minus house notice conspicuously. A private scheduled meeting may trigger different written disclosure steps. It must remain visible and use the commission minus prescribed form rather than an altered substitute. The official notice informs visitors that the licensee present represents the seller or lessor. Question 22. Which answer states the concept associated with the duty of the buyer's Maryland licensee in a covered residential sale? Option A, deliver the disclosure or disclaimer on or before contract formation. Option B, inform the seller of disclosure or disclaimer obligations. Option C, inform the buyer of statutory disclosure rights. Option D, a hidden material condition posing a direct health or safety threat. The correct answer is option C, inform the buyer of statutory disclosure rights. The representative explains the purchaser's right to receive the required seller form and acknowledgement. The licensee should also direct technical property questions to qualified inspectors or other experts. Performing the statutory informational duty limits additional responsibility under that disclosure section. Question 23. A closing agent handling a small apartment building in Westminster must identify the retention period for Maryland property minus management transaction records. Which choice is correct? Option A, 3 years after termination. Option B, 5 years after the last rent payment. Option C, until a new manager is appointed. Option D, 5 years after termination of the management agreement. The correct answer is option D, 5 years after termination of the management agreement. The period begins when the management agreement terminates. Property managers must preserve the required documents beyond the active management relationship. Accurate long-term records support owner accounting and regulatory review. Question 24. During a financing review for a rental home in Hagerstown, FARA needs to identify the rule described as the minimum age qualification for a Maryland real estate salesperson applicant. Which answer applies? Option A, at least 18 years old. Option B, at least 16 years old. Option C, at least 19 years old. Option D, at least 21 years old. The correct answer is option A, at least 18 years old. Maryland requires a salesperson applicant to have reached 18 years of age. Age alone does not authorize brokerage activity before the license is issued. The applicant must also satisfy education, examination, character, and broker minus affiliation requirements. Question 25. An investor is reviewing a condominium unit in Cambridge. Which term describes the management step required for each Maryland real estate branch office? Option A, appoint an unlicensed office administrator. Option B, designate a branch office manager. Option C, allow each salesperson to supervise independently. Option D, transfer all supervision to the landlord. The correct answer is option B, designate a branch office manager. The broker retains overall responsibility even when a manager is designated. The broker appoints an individual responsible for supervision at the branch. The manager's oversight duties apply to salespersons and associate brokers registered with that office.